From the moment the first blurry clip hit the internet, fans knew something extraordinary had happened. It was late evening in Tokyo, the streets glowing under neon reflections, when Tian Xuning and Ziyu were spotted together in a moment that the world was never meant to see. And yet, within minutes, the footage had been forwarded, reposted, and analyzed from every possible angle. The entertainment world had no idea this was coming. The fans had no idea this was coming. Tian Xuning and Ziyu themselves probably had no idea their quiet exchange would explode into the biggest headline of the week. But here we are, because what Tian Xuning did that night was not just unexpected. It was the kind of gesture that stops hearts, silences crowds, and sends fandoms into full meltdown. Right from the start, viewers noticed something off. The clip begins with Tian Xuning walking through a dimly lit alley behind a performance venue, his face hidden beneath a mask and cap. He seemed to be in a hurry, constantly checking over his shoulder, like someone who didn't want to be recognized. Moments later, Ziyu appears from the opposite direction, alone, clearly unaware that someone had already started recording. They meet in the middle of the alley, and the camera zooms in right as Tian Xuning reaches into his jacket. At first, fans assumed it was a routine exchange, maybe a manager passing along something they forgot backstage. But then Tian Xuning pulled out a small velvet box. That was the moment everything changed. The fan who recorded the video gasped so loudly that it echoed through the footage. The box was unmistakable. The size, the shape, the texture. Anyone who has ever watched a romantic drama knew exactly what it looked like. A jewelry box. And not just any jewelry box, but one that seemed carefully chosen, expensive, and significant. The internet erupted at that exact second. Twitter transformed into a battlefield of theories. TikTok was flooded with edits. Reddit threads multiplied like wildfire. By the time the video reached YouTube, millions had already formed opinions about what they had witnessed. The most shocking part wasn't the box itself, but how Tian Xuning presented it. He didn't simply hand it over. He held it in both hands, looking at Ziyu with an expression that fans described as soft, intense, and almost vulnerable. There was a stillness to the moment, despite the chaos of the city around them. Cars passed, neon signs flickered, people walked by, and yet, it felt like the world had paused just for them. Ziyu took a step closer, clearly surprised. And for a split second, it seemed like he didn't know whether to accept the box or question the meaning behind it. When he finally reached out, Tian Xuning gently placed the velvet box into his hands. Then came the moment fans insist they will never forget. Tian Xuning whispered something. The audio was too muffled to capture his exact words, but lip readers across the internet immediately got to work. According to crowd consensus, he said something along the lines of, "This is for you. Keep it close." And that was enough to send fans into hysterics. What exactly did he give Ziyu? Why now? And what did he mean by keeping it close? Without opening the box, Ziyu tucked it into his jacket pocket, but not before looking directly into Tian Xuning's eyes. It was a brief exchange, barely a few seconds long, but the energy between them was undeniable. Fans called it magnetic, overwhelming, and the most emotionally charged interaction they had ever witnessed between the two. For a fandom accustomed to analyzing every detail, every glance, every shared moment, this was pure gold. Most shocking of all, after handing the box over, Tian Xuning didn't immediately walk away. He hesitated, almost like he wanted to say something more. He lifted a hand slightly before letting it fall again, then stepped back, giving Ziyu one last lingering look before disappearing into the darkness of the alley. Ziyu stood frozen for several seconds, visibly stunned, trying to process what had just happened. And that was the end of the clip. The mystery deepened the next morning when paparazzi photos surfaced of Ziyu arriving at the airport wearing a necklace he had never been seen with before. It was a crescent-shaped pendant, silver, delicate, and gleaming under the morning sun. Fans immediately connected the dots. Was the necklace inside the velvet box? Was the pendant a symbol of something between them? Theories ranged from secret messages to hidden meanings to the possibility of them sharing an anniversary fans knew nothing about. Entertainment insiders tried to downplay the frenzy. Some claimed it was part of a project, a prop for an upcoming shoot. Others suggested it was simply a gift between close friends. But the public wasn't buying it. The timing was too perfect. The gesture too intimate. The reaction too genuine. Add in the fact that they had been rumored for months to share a close bond behind the scenes, and it became nearly impossible to dismiss the moment as casual or coincidental. Hollywood outlets quickly picked up the story, turning it into an international headline. The narrative shifted from a simple fan-captured moment into a global fascination. Commentators compared it to iconic celebrity moments of the past, the kind that sparked conversation for years, refusing to fade from public memory. In a media landscape obsessed with romance, mystery, and unexpected plot twists, Tian Xuning and Ziyu had delivered the perfect storm. But the biggest shock came later that night when fans discovered a second angle of the clip. A different passerby, standing farther down the alley, had also captured the moment, but this version included the few seconds before the first clip began. In this angle, Tian Xuning was seen waiting alone, pacing slowly, holding the velvet box as though debating whether to hand it over. He kept looking at his phone, checking the time, then hiding the box in his pocket whenever someone walked by. It was clear he was nervous, uncertain, and deeply invested in the moment. This single detail changed the entire narrative. It wasn't a spontaneous exchange. It was planned, carefully planned. Tian Xuning had been waiting for Ziyu specifically, choosing a secluded spot, hoping to avoid attention. The surprise wasn't accidental. It was intentional. Fans argued that no simple friendship gesture would require such secrecy, such planning, such emotional weight. Hollywood reporters joined the conversation, noting that the way Tian Xuning clutched the velvet box resembled the behavior of someone guarding something precious, personal, and deeply meaningful. The story exploded further when jewelers began analyzing the pendant from photos, estimating its craftsmanship and price point. Their conclusion only fueled the fire. This was not a casual gift. It was custom-made, likely exclusive, and chosen with care. Meanwhile, Ziyu remained silent. No statements, no interviews, no clarifications. The pendant stayed around his neck, and photographers caught him absent-mindedly touching it multiple times during rehearsals, press events, and backstage interactions. Every touch became a symbol. Every captured moment became evidence. Fans saw it as a silent confirmation that the gift meant more than anyone was willing to admit publicly.